Hi, my name's Leanna, and here we have a series of videos showing you the importance of the health and safety using a knife, using a hob and using ovens to make sure that you are safe in the kitchen. I've got two sorts of knives here. I've got a chef's knife and a paring knife. Both are equally useful and easy to use. You don't need both. The most important would be the paring knife, the smaller knife, but a chef's knife is sometimes useful for doing harder vegetables. I'm going to start off with my chef's knife. Now, really importantly, whenever we're doing any sort of chopping, we either use the claw or the bridge hold. And the claw means that my fingertips are behind my knuckles, and that's a really important thing because it's much more difficult to chop off your knuckle than it is your finger. So you must make sure that those are behind your knuckles. So I'm going to start off by chopping the tip off, and then I'm going to put the flat side down. Then I'm going to chop through there, put that to one side, and peel back the skin of my onion so that I've got a nice clear board. Once I've got my onion skin back, I can then use my paring knife, makes it slightly easier with a smaller knife, to chop in nice thin slices. Please make sure again the fingertips are always behind your knuckles, or using the claw grip. So I'm going to go down through the onion to get these nice thin slices. Once I've gone down that way, I then should have this fan type shape. Then from that I can use either the paring knife or I can switch to the chef's knife and chop it into small pieces the other direction. This is sometimes called brunoise chopping. It's very small diced basically. And once I've got it chopped all there, I can then remove my root, and then my onion is ready. So with my pepper, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by cutting off what I would call the lid. So you go straight down through. Again, please watch my fingertips, they're behind my knuckles. Down through my pepper. I'm going to get rid of this bit, we don't want the stalk. And then I'm going to use this bit's perfectly fine. What I have done to my pepper before I've started chopping it is I have given it a wash. It's really important to wash your vegetables before you start to chop them, because we can have bacteria on the outside which can be transferred to your dish. So you must make sure that your vegetables are clean. So once I've got that bit out, then I'm going to use my paring knife away from myself, not towards myself. We never chop towards ourselves, to get the inside out. Then I'm going to put my fingertips in to pull out the inside of my pepper. Then I can give it a little tap to make sure there are no more seeds. Then I can chop that in half, and then all I'm going to do now is chop all of the rest into small chunks. So I'm just again using my fingertips behind my knuckles, making sure that I do really nice small dices, just to make it look attractive to go with my onion. So once we've chopped it into thin slices this way, making sure that you're keeping those fingertips behind your knuckles, I can then chop the other direction, to dice my pepper. This is a whole clove of garlic, bulb of garlic rather, but I only want a clove. So what I'm going to do is, to start off with, I'm going to loosen the cloves off. To do that, I just need to lean on it. You can hear it click, and then I can pull out the clove, so this bit here. I just want one of these. I'm just going to pull off any of that skin that's holding on, and I'm then going to put it on my board, and using the heel of my hand, I'm just going to lean on it again. Did you hear it click that time? Should click again, and then you should be able to just cut off the root and then pull off all that skin really easily. So that should come back without getting stuck down your nail. So once I've got that all done, I'm then going to use my knife again to chop it into really thin slices. Once I've chopped it into really thin slices this way, I'm then going to chop this the other direction. Again, very carefully. Then what I can do is use my fingertips on the back of my knife, and I'm just going to push the garlic into the board. And this is just a nice way of crushing your garlic without the aid of a garlic press. So if you don't have a garlic press, you can do it this way. If you do, you can just use a garlic press. And then you should have some nicely crushed garlic. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use some cabbage and some carrots. So I have washed these, and then I'm going to peel my carrot. So I've got a normal peeler, you can use a Y peeler, it doesn't really matter. And I'm going to peel away from myself to get the skin off my carrot. If you wanted to, you can leave the skin on, especially with the smaller or like spring vegetables. So once I've peeled my carrot, I'm then just going to cut the very end off here. I'm going to leave the root, the sprouting end, and I'm just going to cut the other end off like that. Then I'm going to use my grater, and I'm going to use this side, the larger side, to grate my carrot. I'm going to hold my grater tightly, making sure that it's not going to slip, and I'm keeping this on so that I'm not going to grate my fingers. And I'm just going to grate my carrot down until I am nervous that I'm going to grate my fingers. So I'm going to I'm just going to keep going until I've got no more carrot left. When you get right up to the end, I'm going to discard this very top bit because we don't want to use that, but all the rest of the carrot can be used. I've finished grating my carrot. I'm going to discard this end bit and then all the rest of my carrot, putting my hand in. If you want to get the carrot off the grater, don't push your hand against the grater. You can go down with the grater but not against it, because otherwise you're going to grate your hand. And you can put your hand inside the grater to get out any bits through there. With the saucepan, whenever you are using anything on the hob, you need to make sure that your pan handle is pointing out to the side. If you have it over the back, the pan handle can get hot and then can be dangerous of burning you. Or if you're out this way, you're more likely to knock it off. So it needs to be out to the side. When we're using a pan, we make sure that we put some oil into the pan first, or some water, or whatever you're doing first, not put the pan on first. Never put a pan on that's empty, because then you can cause yourself issues. I'm going to heat up the pan, but I'm going to heat it up to a medium heat and add my vegetables in relatively soon. Please notice that when I've got my pan on, I'm holding the pan. I'm not stirring it without holding it, because again you could knock it off, and making sure that nothing is catching to the bottom. Whenever we add any herbs or spices in, you want to either make sure you put it onto a spoon or into your hand. Please do not put it straight in the dish, because then you won't be able to get it back out if you put too much in. So I'm going to put it into my hand. I like mine quite spicy, so I'm putting about half a teaspoon of chili flakes in. I'm going to crack my egg. I use the back of a tablespoon to do this. So one swift, sharp movement, and then into a little bowl or a jug. Then you can make sure that you've got no shell, and then either using a whisk or a fork just to mix the yolk with the albumin or the yellow with the white. So that's done like that. So that's my egg done. If I ever touch my chicken breast or touch any of my raw meat, I need to make sure I wash my hands. It is super important for cross-contamination, which is when bacteria from raw ingredients, particularly raw meat, gets onto other bits of the kitchen. I'm using a red coloured board. You do not need all different coloured boards at home, but whenever you use raw meat, your knife and your board needs to be washed thoroughly with hot water and soap before you start to cut anything else on it. That's really important. So with my chicken now, I'm ready now. I've got my baking tray prepared, I've got my flour, my egg and my breadcrumbs. So I know now that I don't need to touch anything else before I start to touch my meat. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my chicken breast prepared. So all I'm going to do is cut it into small thin slices. So I'm just going to use my knife through my chicken, again making sure your fingertips are behind your knuckles, through the chicken until I've got reasonably sort of 1 to 2 centimetre slices. Flour, egg, breadcrumbs. I'm going to put my breadcrumbs on this plate. I'm going to put my flour on first. We need to be aware that anything I put my meat in, I can't use again. So use less to begin with, and then if you run out of flour, add more. Don't keep using it for other things. And I'm just going to take one piece at a time into my flour, then into my egg, and then into my breadcrumbs. Nice and coated, and then ready for the next stage. And I'm going to repeat that with the rest of my chicken. Flour, egg, breadcrumbs, and repeat. I'm going to add these to the oven. It's really important that even though this is cold, you use oven gloves when adding anything into the oven, because your oven can be hot and then you can catch your hand, especially the back of your hand, on the oven. So adding it to the oven. Making sure I take note of the time in so that I know when it comes out. After watching our Best Food Forward safety videos, how many hazards can you spot in our rather messy kitchen? There are lots of hazards. First thing you may have spotted is my knife is on the side. Very dangerous, could knock that off. We have a pan handle that's pointing out to the edge, that could be hot. My oven gloves are on the edge of my oven and my oven is open. Again, very dangerous. We have plastic on the hob, which could catch fire. I have eggshell. This can be a cause of salmonella. We don't want that anywhere near our cooked food. I have a knife underneath a cloth. Again, could be dangerous. We have raw meat bacteria on this board, and this has not been washed and cleaned up. I have rubbish on the surfaces, and I have just a general disaster of an area. So hopefully you spotted all those hazards, and hopefully our health and safety videos will show you what should be done. Thank you.